I want to talk to you today about choosing faith instead of fear. And all through the day, we have the choice to either believe that God is in control, believe that He's taking care of us, believe that good things are in store, or we can go around worried, expecting the worst, wondering if we're going to make it. I hear people say, I'm afraid I'm going to lose my job. I'm afraid this marriage is not going to last. Or I'm afraid my child is going to get mixed up with the wrong crowd. They don't realize it, but they're choosing fear instead of faith. And fear and faith have something in common. They both ask us to believe something is going to happen that we cannot see. Fear says, believe the negative. That pain in your side, that's the same thing your grandmother died from. Probably be the end of you. Faith says that sickness is not permanent, it's only temporary. Fear says business is slow, you're going to go under. Faith says God is supplying all of your needs. Fear says you've been through too much, you're never going to be happy. Faith says your best days are still out in front of you. Here's the key. What we meditate on is what's going to take root. If we go around all day thinking about that fear and we let it play again and again, it can become a reality. That's what Job said. The thing I feared came upon me. I had a man tell me not long ago how everything was going great in his life. He'd recently gotten engaged. His business was blessed. But instead of enjoying it, instead of thanking God for it, he said, Joel, I'm afraid it's not going to last. I'm afraid it's too good to be true. I told him what I'm telling you. When you act on fear like that, you are drawing in the negative. You are actually helping that fear come to pass. When that thought comes saying, you're doing good, but get ready, it's going to come to an end, don't let it take root. Just switch over into faith and say, Father, you said your favor will last for a lifetime. You said goodness and mercy will follow me all the days of my life. That's choosing faith instead of fear.
DJ Benjie in the mix. Damn.
I remember one time I was facing a situation that had the potential to turn out really bad. It'd gone on for months and months, involved other people. Every morning when I woke up, the first thought that came to my mind was, this is not going to work out. It's going to cause you a lot of heartache. You might as well make plans for defeat. That's the way fear is. It'll try to dominate your thought life. If you allow it, fear will keep you awake at night. Fear will steal your joy, steal your enthusiasm. I was so tempted to be worried and go around with that dark cloud following me around. But one day, I heard God say something to me. Not out loud, it was just an impression down in here. He said, Joel, if you worry about this and you keep mulling over all the reasons why it's not going to work out, then because of your worry, you're going to allow that to come to pass. But if you will trust me and use that same energy to believe instead of worry, then I will turn it around and cause it to work out to your advantage. When I heard that, I got a new perspective. I realized that worry, fear, wrong thinking, that's not just a bad habit. That is allowing the negative to come to pass. I made a decision from that moment on, I wasn't going to worry about it anymore. When I was tempted to get discouraged, I just used that as a reminder to thank God that He was in control and to thank Him that He was fighting my battles for me. Several months later, that situation not only resolved in my favor, but it turned out better than I could even imagine. It was like God was putting an exclamation point on it, saying, see, Joel, if you'll just believe, if you'll just trust me, I'll not only bring you out, but I'll bring you out better off than you were before. And today, we have so many opportunities to worry and live in fear. People are worried about the economy, worried about their health, worried about their children. God is saying to you what He said to me. Don't use your energy to worry. Use your energy to believe. It takes the same amount of energy to believe as it does to worry. It's just as easy to say, God is supplying all of my needs as it is to say, I'm never going to make it. It takes the same amount of effort to say, I'm going to live a long, healthy life as it does to say, I don't think I'll ever get well. I hear people say, well, Joel, I'm afraid I'm going to get laid off. And I understand what they're saying. They're concerned. It may be valid, but you can't go around meditating on that expecting the worst, expecting to have a bad year. When you do that, you're using your faith in reverse. Instead of constantly worrying, just say, God, my life is in your hands. I know you're guiding and directing my steps, and I'm not expecting defeat. I'm not expecting failure. I'm expecting to have a blessed year. I'm expecting to go over and not under. Well, you say, Joel, what if I do that and it doesn't happen? What if you do it and it does happen? Even if you were to get laid off, you don't have to get discouraged. Think, well, I knew it wouldn't work for me. No, you can stay in faith, knowing that when one door closes, God's going to open up another door. And if you'll keep the right attitude, He'll give you a better job with better benefits, making better money. Let me ask you today, are you using your energy to believe, or are you using your energy to worry? Are you expecting God's favor, or are you expecting to just barely get by? Jesus said there in Matthew 9:29, have what your faith expects.
Mixing them down, tune after tune. DJ Benjie.
I know people that are being talked in to having a bad year. They've listened to the news reports so long, they're expecting their finances to go down. They're expecting to barely get by. No, our attitude should be, I'm expecting to have my best year so far. I'm expecting God to prosper me in the desert. I'm expecting every negative situation to turn around. If we're going to stay in faith, we've got to be careful who our friends are. Be careful who you associate with. Do you know fear is contagious? Worry is contagious. Negativity is contagious. If you're around people that are always complaining and discouraged, that spirit can get off on you. I read an article that talked about how we can catch other people's emotions just like we can catch a cold. They did a study where they gave a group of people a mild electrical shock, and they measured their brain waves from the time they heard they were going to get the shock till the time that it was over. What's interesting is they had another group in the room that were just there to watch. They measured their brain waves as well. And even though they were not getting the shock, they experienced the same fears as the people that were getting the shock. The researchers' conclusion was, just seeing other people's fears is enough to make us afraid. If your friends are constantly complaining, talking about how bad it is and how they're not going to make it, they've got that report of doom and gloom, let me give you some good advice. Find some new friends. That worry, that fear, that discouragement is contagious. If you stay around them long enough, there's a good chance you're going to catch what they have. I know you love your friends. You don't have to be rude. Don't go announce to them tomorrow morning, Joel told me you're contagious, man. I'm staying away from you. No, be more tactful than that. And do me a favor, don't use my name either. You can be kind, you can be respectful, but just gradually begin to pull back and don't spend as much time with them. You shouldn't go to lunch every day with somebody that's always crying the blues and talking about how bad the economy is. You can't do that and not expect it to affect you. And I know some of you may have to be around people like that. Maybe co-workers like that and you don't have a choice. Perhaps you married somebody like that. If that's the case, God will give you the grace to overcome. But what you need to do is when you're not around them, you need to take heavy doses of faith, heavy doses of hope. Fill your mind with victory.
DJ Benjie in the mix. Damn.